Hello, little people. Today on Oz History, the interesting bits, the gory tale of Australia's cannibal convicts. It's a horror story of betrayal and murder and the most terrible of fates. And you may think that it's not a story that's fit for the little people of Australia to know about. Some may even say that this story could traumatize young minds. But you're not the director of this, and neither am I. No, he's over there, the director, helping that young female intern pick up something off the floor. Seems to be a pen. So yeah, we're doing a story about cannibals. For kids. Our story starts in 1822, in a remote island in a natural harbour in the island state of Tasmania. Back then it was known as Van Diemen's Land, Australia's second settlement, and home to harsh conditions for everyone, especially the convicts who had been transported there. One convict who had it pretty good, all things considered, was Alexander Pearce, an Irishman who had been transported for stealing shoes. He was assigned to be a servant, but ended up getting into trouble and ran off a bunch of times. The authorities grew tired of him, and he was sent to the camp of Sarah Island on the west coast of the colony. One day he was sent off the island on a working party with 7 other convicts. They were sent to the east of the harbour to cut Huon pine. As soon as they could, they made a break for it into the wilderness. Leading the group was a man named Robert Greenhill, who appointed himself leader. Greenhill had 3 important qualities for this office. First, he was a sailor, so could help the group navigate east back to civilization. Second, he had a friend, Matthew Travers, who was with him who could back him up. And thirdly, he was the only person in the group who had an axe. Which is ominous. The convicts struggled through harsh environments, up hills and down valleys. It was hard work, and it took a lot of energy. By about the 15th day, the convicts' rations had all gone, and they were on the brink of starvation. It was apparently Greenhill who first brought up the idea of the whole killing and eating someone thing. According to Pearce, he said that he had seen it like that done before, and that it tasted very like pork. After a little chat, they decided that the first man to go would be a guy named William Dalton, because he was a collaborator with the guards. At this point, 2 of the more sane convict escapees decided the whole flesh-eating thing wasn't for them, and started to trek back to camp. And this is where I wish I could leave the story too. Instead, Pearce, Greenhill, Travers, and 2 other convicts named Bodnam and Mather decided, well, they liked the taste of human meat, or at least didn't mind it too much, enough to keep eating it and moving east towards civilization. Now, one of the problems with human meat, according to some studies, is that it's not really packed with energy, especially not the meat from a half-starved convict. This is a detail that I'm sure the director would be very keen on if he wasn't over there, giving that female intern some intense professional advice. Anyway, it's likely that the meat from poor old Dalton didn't sustain them for long, and so Greenhill used his axe to kill Bodnam while he slept. Sounds a bit psychopathic, really. Pretty psychopathic. Next to go, a few days later, was Mather. He had the horrible fate of knowing he was going to die. Greenhill had failed to kill him in a surprise attack. Instead, Mather asked for a prayer book, and in a fairly morbid move, Greenhill actually had one. They gave him half an hour to pray, and then afterwards chopped his head off. Traumatized yet? No? I am. Anyway, there were now 3 of them. Greenhill, who was the axe-wielding sailor, his mate Travers, and Alexander Pearce. And given that Greenhill and Travers were mates, it wasn't looking good for Pearce. Fortunately for him, Travers was bitten by a snake and was largely immobilized. Greenhill carried him for a while, but eventually, well, they ate Travers. And it was just Greenhill and Pearce in the wilderness. The 2 were still miles from civilization. In a cruel twist in a cruel story, they had broken through to grassland filled with kangaroo and other animals to hunt, but they were too weak, so they hunted each other. Tired, paranoid, understandably, and close to exhaustion, it was Pearce that got the upper hand. Greenhill fell asleep. Pearce grabbed the axe and ate the last of his fellow escapees. After wandering around a bit, Pearce stumbled upon a farm where a worker recognized him as an old acquaintance. He fed the cannibal convict, not knowing he was a cannibal, and got him back to health. As soon as he was healthy enough, Pearce restarted his life of crime. He took to bushranging before being caught a second time and being sent to Hobart for interrogation. Here's where the story takes a twist. No one actually believed him. They just figured he'd made the whole thing up. The other convicts were probably still out there, and he was covering for them. And to be fair, Pearce's various confessions weren't particularly consistent. In one, he said Dalton, instead of being the first killed in the group, ran away with the other two. So, lacking any evidence, the authorities sent Pearce back to Macquarie Harbour and Sarah Island, where he escaped. Again, because no one had bothered to install fences, presumably. This time, he ran off with a young guy named Thomas Cox. But when Cox couldn't swim, Pearce killed him. And when the law caught him, they found him eating Thomas Cox, even though he had other provisions. So yeah, bit of a psycho. They tried him, he made one last confession, and then in 1824 they hung him in Hobart Town Jail. It was a horrible end for a horrible person. And if I had my druthers, we would never have told this horrible story. But what would I know? I've never worked with social video marketing strategies or viral integrations. I'm just a cartoon character with 20 years of experience entertaining children. But I tell you what I do know. I know clickbait when I see it.